everyone, and welcome to another episode of Stamp Time with Miss Jane. Today we're going to be making a half fold card. It's a super simple fun fold card, and I'll be watercoloring the gorgeous image from Blessings of Home. Bringing in my trimmer and a piece of A4 pale papaya cardstock, popping that in halfway, which is 10.5 centimeters. And cutting straight down the middle. Once we have our half sheet of A4, we can then score at 14.9 and fold our cardstock in half, just like this. Okay, so this will be the back, this will be the front. Now what we need to do is chop out a bit in here. So I'm going to pop that back in my trimmer, and I'm going to line this up at 5.2 to 5.3 centimeters, but roughly 2.1/16 of an inch. Then I want to cut, so from the 14.9 centimeters all the way up to the top, turning this around, and then I'm going to chop from my 14.9 in the middle all the way up to the top again, and that piece just pops out, and we can use that on another card. That is my chopping. Now just like to go over the edges where I've cut, and this is the base of the card. I'm going to bring in a piece of Fluid 100 watercolor paper, and I want to black emboss this image, so using my emboss buddy, running over that, and I have my Versamark water stamp pad and my big image, and I'm going to bring the watermark pad to the image because it's so big. Stamping down, make sure I've got room on the edge for the die to cut this out. Bringing in a piece of scrap paper that I put my embossing powder into, my black embossing powder, and watching the magic. Hope we've got a nice clear image going to come through. And look, we do. Then we clear away our embossing powder, pop that back in, and bring in my heat tool and make this a nice shiny image. Okay, so I now have my black embossed image, and I want to chop that out with the Flowers of Home dies and the big die. So I'm going to pop and do that. So here's my image. Now I am going to watercolor this image. I could watercolor it before I die cut it, but if I make a boo-boo after I've watercolored it, I'd get very sad. So I have done it already. Now for some watercoloring. I've got a tissue and I have my water painters. Now for this, I am going to be watercoloring. First of all, I'm going to do So Saffron, and that's going to be for my middles of my flowers. Now I give my ink pad a press in the middle. This is one of the older style ones, so it works from the front. Turn it over and I've got a pool of ink. Bringing in my water painter. A nice really watery bit first of all, and I'm just going to go over that whole center. Then I'm going to come in with pale papaya as my big flower. So if you press from the back on a newer ink pad, and you'll get some colour. Now I'm going to take my wider brush. So I want a really watery concentrate and make really light petals to start with. So just lay the colour down. I might actually just blot that a little bit, just quickly and little bit, and then come in with some darker bits. So I'm going to come in from the middle of the flowers out. And the littler flowers are fresh freesia. I'm doing my leaves in Pear Pizzazz. It's a nice bright light green, and I thought it went well with the pastel-y toned colours. So again, I can squeeze this. This is an older style pad that I still have. This was one of my first colours I bought actually. The InColors all way back then. I want a bit more. Now, if the squeezing's hard for you to do, you can grab one of your clear blocks and take the ink straight from there and watercolor from your pad, or you could add re-inker to a block or re-inker into the top of your ink pad, and away you go from there. It's time for some green. So set your watercolor piece to dry, and then we can build the card. So bringing back in the card, then we need all the bits to build this card up. So first of all, we have an inside piece, which is the same size as what you would normally do a top layer. So 10 by 14.4 centimeters in Aussie terms. And I'm coming back in with my nice big image, and this time with the Pale Papaya ink pad. I'm going to stamp around all the edge of this piece, but I mainly want to use this part of the image. So stamp halfway and just randomly from the side go around and do my edges first. And then add a bit more. And a little bit on the sides, just to give it some added interest. And I'm going to use the Happy Birthday from the Artistically Inked. Just I thought it was a good size for this card. You could use any of these, don't get me wrong, you can use a thank you, you can use beautiful day for love, have a perfect birthday. Any of the sayings from Blessings of Home are beautiful. I just liked this. I just liked this happy birthday. Personal choice. Let's get this straight, Miss Jane. Straight and somewhere in the middle, just like so. So this piece is going to get popped just here. Then I have a piece of Designer Series paper. This is from the old InColor pack. There is a new pattern this year. I'm using a piece I had already chopped. Then I have a piece of pale papaya, which measures 8.5 centimeters by 12 centimeters. That piece is going to be going on the front. And then I have a piece of basic white, which I have run through the Hive 3D embossing folder. And this piece is 8 centimeters by 11.5 centimeters. And that's just going to go on top of there. Oh, the Designer Series paper piece is 5 centimeters by 14.4 centimeters. So let's glue all those bits together. First of all, happy birthday. Fold that up. Sometimes you might want to go this piece. Sometimes you might want to go this way. I'm going this way today. This is the piece that I'm going to pop some ribbon on, and this is also the piece that's going to have the watercolored piece popped up on dimensionals. Okay, now with this piece, it's only going on this flap here, okay, but we want to get it kind of in the middle. So what I like to do, I do like to use some tape on this, and from the very bottom I'm going to add a couple of strips, but because I don't know where exactly it lines up to here, I'm going to put this piece directly on my card, and that's just kind of a thing I like to do. So rip them off, and that should be plenty of adhesive to stick that together. Okay, so then find somewhere in the middle and pop it down. Give it a good press. Okay, and this is your half fold base, and we're going to just make it look a bit prettier. I've got the open weave pale papaya ribbon, and I've got my watercolor piece. Now I want to pop this up on dimensionals. Roughly where I want this to go, and then work out where I want my ribbon to be going. I can chop off a little bit more than that. So what I like to do with my ribbon, I'll add some And then curl. Have a bit of a peek. That looks about right. I'm actually going to add a piece of tape over the top just to secure that. And cut off my ends to an angle. Okay, pop up these pieces. Call this dimensional overkill, but some people would use more dimensionals than that. Now I want this on a kind of an angle. Yeah. And to finish this card off, give it some opal rounds. So I'm going to put a big one up here and a big one down here and also a little one down here. And da-da-da-da-da-da! I think I have a finished card. I'll bring in the one I made earlier. Da-da-da-da! They're the same! The watercolouring is actually much better on this one. Of course it is, because it's the one I didn't film. Thank you for spending some time with Miss Jane to create this half-fold fun fold card today. It's rather pretty with the gorgeous big image from Blessings of Home stamp set. Love the watercolouring in the pastel colours. It makes for a very pretty card, and I'm sure anyone would be happy to receive this as their happy birthday card. I know I certainly would. And if you'd like to try and make one, I'd love to see what you come up with. Please share with me. And until next time, keep smiling, keep stamping. Bye.